Yeah, this was an interesting week because a lot of people saw I was in a picture with Clark Gilbert, who's a mentor and one of my good friends, and I love him to death. And so people have been hitting me up like, man, how do you know Clark Gilbert? And I'm like, man, he saved my life. You know, when I was a kid in Boston and I was struggling, I was not only a minority in a big city, but I was also a religious minority because I was like this kid who was trying to adhere to all the principles of the church and like be religious and spiritual, but I was also mixing into all the things that Boston had to offer in the inner city. And so Clark Gilbert was just a fantastic source of light in my life, and he pulled me out of my frame of thinking, which was, man, I'm in Boston public schools, there's not much I'm going to be able to achieve. I'm probably going to get in the cycle where everybody gets in, which is I'm probably going to go and start selling drugs a little bit, which I was starting to dabble into anyways, and I'm just going to hang out with the wrong people, and it's going to lead me to like this just interesting path that probably is not going to lead to any good. And he kind of plucked me out of that mindset and showed me that, sky's the limit, really. And it was really cool to just have that experience with him in that regard. Like, man, I can see that if I put my mind to things, that there is no ceiling, and I could make a life that I want for myself. And he was just, again, this beacon of light in my life that just allowed me to not only see the potential that I have in terms of like the future I can have for education and lifestyle and my own personal potential, but again, he was just such a beacon of light that he reminded me in real time as a teenager that, man, God loves me. And so I'm incredibly grateful for Clark and for his influence. Hold up. Music wise, man, this week has been so random and funny. Probably the highest highs of this week, obviously, like I sat down, I talked to this marketing agency, which like they love the music, and they were like, yo, this is the advice we would give you. And we have a plan, and we're rocking with that plan. And the plan, we'll get to. But the highest highs, which is really random. So I'm sitting there, and it's probably, I think it was like Wednesday. It might have been Tuesday. I go on Instagram and I'm looking and I'm like, man, what video am I going to post today? And I randomly saw, I was like, oh, let me go on my messages. And I looked at the request, and it wasn't in my primary. It was like in the hidden joints. And I go and I look in the hidden joints, and randomly I got this message from Lil Scrappy. And I don't know if you remember him from, I think it's Love is Hip Hop. And his music. He was an artist for a long time. He had that big song, You Don't Want No Problem. So I was like No Problem was huge, if you remember that from back in the day. And he messaged me. He was like, man, he sent me this message, and it was just, a nice reassurance that, hey, man, all these videos is equating to something. I'll take the small win. It doesn't mean I'm getting signed. It doesn't mean anything. It just means, hey, people are acknowledging like, yo, the music that I'm doing is good, and the way that I'm approaching it is really good, which is fire. And I'll take that all day. Now, going back to what I was saying, so that's a dub. I'll take a win all day, every day. For the marketing plan, up to this point, I've been asking like, man, what should I name this song? And it's been so cool to see everybody engaged. And this song, based off of all of the polls and the reaction, I think we have the name for the song. And it should be On My Way to You. So shout out to Paige, shout out to Danny. You both gave me that request. And I love that title. And it's not going to be spelled out On My Way to You. It's, OMW, the number 2, and then you. The next step is, okay, now that we have the title, we need to get the artwork. So thank you guys for engaging and for just showing me love and just giving me ideas. And talking to the marketing company that I'm working with, and that believe in me, I sent them a bunch of my like rough drafts, and like, we were even thinking like, man, should we start and just promote some of the Porsches in Japan? And I was like, no, I'm on this new journey with music. Like, my approach for it is very different. So I kind of want to start fresh and just kind of move forward. And, after sending it, we landed on one song, and I haven't put any snippets out. I haven't shown any work on it, but I'm going to. So On My Way to You is going to be the second single that I'm hoping that we will get geared up, and like I'll release it probably in May. But for April, it's another song, and I'm going to need all your guys' help, not only getting feedback like we did with On My Way to You, but getting a title and then getting the cover art. So I'm going to need all your guys' help. The other part that I've been working on, so last week I told you guys that I wanted to do like old school mixtape. I should have worded it better, because Lord knows you guys sent me all these requests for old school instrumentals, and I rapped on all of them. I think I have maybe 2 instrumentals that are left, but man, you guys have requested some jams. Check the Rhyme, Rolling by Akeem Ali. I've done Tried by 12. I'm trying to think of the other ones. The hardest one was Super Lyrical by Big Pun. People don't know this about me, but Big Pun was like one of my favorite rappers of all time. And Capital Punishment was probably one of the albums I played the most growing up. So writing to that joint was super hard, but I had fun. And the whole point of this was, hey, you make a request, I'm gonna take out time, I'm gonna put some verses on it, or a verse on it that's very me. For the people, by the people, mixtape, old school, let's do this. And so I just have a couple more that I need to finish up, and then I'm gonna go and I'll try to document it as best as possible by actually scratching on the songs and like really making it feel like you're listening to a DJ playing these tracks back to you. Yeah, so that's basically where we're at with the music, which I'm super excited for. Like I said, man, all these little wins have been fantastic, and it's been interesting just to see like the growth and just refocusing on something that I'm passionate about. So the next steps from here is work on the new single, work with that, like work with it, polish it up, get it released, work with you guys, get all the details that I need for it, and then we'll put it out, we'll push it out. In the meantime, the quick turnaround is the mixtape, for the people, by the people, that I'm gonna finish up, and then it'll be like for download for everybody. And there's a couple of original songs that I put in there too, just so that whoever, if you like my music, you have new unreleased music that probably won't be singles that I've worked on, that that I have, that you guys probably will enjoy. So just look out for that. Just know that that will happen. I think what's the last part? Oh, there is one thing that I've always wanted to do, and I was like, man, it would be really cool to do a podcast where I discuss like top 5, what are my favorite like top 5 things, and it could be anything, and I would get requests from you guys, and that I think I'm gonna start doing that. But the first thing I'm gonna start with, and I was thinking about it this morning, is like what are my personal, my unbiased, me, Frank Zoo, top 5 hip hop albums of all time. Now, it's not saying like these are the best of the best and I think they're cream of the crop, but these are probably like the hip hop albums that influence me the most. If that were the case, my top 5 favorite albums that influence my music that I love, Illmatic is my favorite hip hop album of all time. I'm gonna go with The Blueprint. And you know what? This, outside of Illmatic being number 1, everything else is not in a particular order. So Illmatic, for sure The Blueprint, for sure Kanye's Late Registration, for sure Capital Punishment, and I would probably put Reasonable Doubt in there too. So Illmatic, The Blueprint, Capital Punishment, Late Registration, and Reasonable Doubt. I love those albums. And, I would probably even put as like an honorable mention in there as albums I always circle back to. 2 albums that I always circle back to, Common's B and Good Kid, Mad City. If you put me on an island today, those are probably the albums I could play nonstop all day chilling, and I'd be Gucci. So if you guys have more ideas for top 5, what you want to know is my top 5 of anything. It could be like anime, mangas, it could be movies, it could be books, documentaries, all that stuff. I love all that stuff. So just let me know. So with that said, we have a fun week ahead of us. The one thing that I learned this week that I hope everybody walks away understanding and knowing is that you never know who you're going to have a conversation with. And so be a light to that person that you're going to converse with. Make sure that your intentions are good and that you go and you just want the best for that person. Don't get caught up in not listening to what they're saying or trying to think about what you're going to say in advance. Be present, be engaged, and just be a light to that person, because everybody needs it. And you never know where people are at in their stage of life, but it can have a positive impact on them and their family and their kids, their spouses, whatever, man, or just them personally. But remember, be a light to that person, whoever you engage with. With that said, we'll talk next week.